Have to?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Well, good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Deputy Mayor Tom Hutchinson, and I'm also the Chair of the Committee of Adjustments. Item number one on today's meeting is I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 2 p.m. This is the April the 2nd, 2024 Committee of Adjustment meeting. And we do have a quorum, as indicated by obviously everyone in attendance. Member Shea is regrets today. This meeting, we're using both audio and video. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the West Grey website at www.westgrey.com. The technology for this meeting is being managed by the West Grey staff. Please refrain from clicking buttons throughout the meeting unless prompted. And before we continue, I'm asking Communications Coordinator, Ms. Noble, Ms. Noble, to provide an overview on some other highlights. Ms. Noble.
Thank you. Before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. Both member of council and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hands physically to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, and I will attempt to assist you. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is taking place across 2 meeting platforms, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Public participation, if any, must be done through Zoom and cannot be done through YouTube at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda is the purpose of the meeting. I'm going to ask Secretary Treasurer Ms. Wilden to please provide her comments.
Through you. The purpose of the meeting today is to allow the presentation of 2 minor variance applications and 1 consent to sever, and to allow interested members of the public the opportunity to ask questions or offer comments regarding the applications. On or before March 13th, 2024, notice of this public hearing was posted to the subject properties and circulated to the prescribed persons and bodies and property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands. A public registry for the applications is available by email at communications@westgrey.com. And if any member of the public would like to be notified in writing of the decision on one of the applications, they are to provide their name and mailing address by email or via the meeting chat function for the corresponding registry. This will entitle one to be advised of the possible Ontario Land Tribunal hearing in the event the decision on the application is appealed.
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. And committee members, do you have anything to declare at this time? Again, if one should arise during the meeting, of course, you can declare at that time. Seeing none, we're going to move on to item 4. That's the approval of the minutes. Under 4.1 is the minutes of the March 5th, 2024 Committee of Adjustments hearing. And the recommendation would be, excuse me, that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves those minutes. Again, March 5th, 2024. Can I get a mover, please? Member Eccles is moving that, and a seconder, please. I see Member Hutch and Sun. Comments or questions on those minutes? Errors, omissions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, just raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has carried. Moving right ahead, we're into item number 5. That's application number A02 2024 Ballard concession 9 part lot 6 RP 17R3233 part 1. We're going to go to 5.1 is the report from the planning staff. We get Planner Smith, please provide your comments on this application, including any written or verbal comments you may have received up till obviously just the start of this meeting. Planner Smith, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, day 02-2024 for Ballard, an application to facilitate a new 2-story addition to an existing legal non-conforming dwelling. I'm going to ask Ashley if we can bring up on screen for the communities and the public's. And we will go to the picture. Thank you. As you would notice on this Schedule A, which forms part of the decision, is the existing residence on the drawing. The slightly shaded in gray new addition. It doesn't show the 2 floors. We're looking at a basic floor plan here viewpoint, and then the proposals to remove portions of a deck and the other portions of this particular building. It doesn't show the setbacks to the Rocky Saugeen or those kind of things. What we're showing here is the building envelope, which is the only issue within the application itself. The diagram below it just gives a bit more of the dimensions that we're taking a look at in terms of their building permit application. We can just leave it there. The application was circulated to various agencies, including West Gray Public Works, Conservation Authority, and the County of Gray. There have been no concerns from the agencies. Saugeen Valley did issue a permit already for the development, which is not unusual in 2023 when they took a on-site review and took a look at the building and the existing slope and issues such as that, and have issued a permit for that. We received no public comments, nothing since the writing of this report. The concept of legal nonconformity for minor variances is different than the standard for test minor variance. The legal nonconforming is very important in law, very important to the courts, and has been through any number of court decisions, including the Supreme Court of Canada. In this particular case, the dwelling that's on the property existed prior to any zoning bylaw that existed in the township of Glen Elk, as far as our information is available. The 45-2 application allows for an expansion to a legal nonconforming. In this particular case, the building exists in a natural environment zone. Natural environment zone does not allow for any residential dwellings. It is legal nonconforming, legal non-complying, take your pick in that regards. And therefore the act does grant specific considerations for the expansion or the continued use of such buildings. In this particular case, there's only 2 tests as opposed to a standard 4 test for minor variance. And those 2 tests being through any number of Ontario Municipal Board or Ontario Land Tribunal hearings and LPAT hearings. And basically it comes down to 2 tests. One, whether the application is desirable for appropriate development of the subject property. And 2, whether or not the application will result in undue adverse impacts on the surrounding properties in the neighborhood. You got to remember that when we're talking about 45-2 applications, take a look at it in the broader sense of an Ontario. If you were to go to a city where they had old industrial lands now surrounded by subdivisions, and we have existing industrial or commercial buildings or businesses that are trying to continue operations and expand at times. So one I remember in particular is the Campbell's soup plant in Toronto, now surrounded by condominiums. And for years about how they're able to expand and continue to use the business as opposed to being legal non-conforming, and therefore being legal non-conforming within that. Those are the kind of things we take a look at. The application before you, of course, is a lot simpler. It's a dwelling, been there a long time within the natural environment zone, and a proposal for a small expansion within the existing footprint of the building. We applied the 2 tests, including taking a look at the provincial policy statement. That is the only additional quote-unquote test that is applied, and even then is applied in somewhat limited circumstances. We find that there's no issues in terms of neighborhoods or property owners, surrounding property owners. There are no surrounding property owners. It's well screened. The Conservation Authority is taking a look at the hazard lands and any threat to life in that particular case, or in terms of threats to the environment and the river. We've added, in terms of the decision sheet, the requirement for an erosion and sediment control plan, which is basically handed in by the applicant, by the owner, in terms of putting in some straw bales or things like that to keep sediment from running downhill while you're building on a slope. We do not ask for erosion and sediment control plans on anything that's flat or doesn't have water or anything else like that involved in it in most cases. So that was the only unique aspect to this particular decision sheet. The owners had already proposed to remove some decking within that, so we're taking them at their word, and that portion of the decision sheet is also available to you. Based on that, we believe the application does meet the 2 tests as set out for 45-2 and recommend approval of the application. Thank you.
Planner Smith. 5.2 on our agenda is verbal comments. There's two parts to this. 5.2.1 will be committee members. Once we completed that, we'll follow up with the applicant, agent, or members of the public. So under 5.2.1, is there any comments or questions from the committee members at this time? Again, regarding this application. All right, seeing none, we will move on to 5.2.2. And I'm gonna have Ms. Noble advise how people virtually could participate. And of course, anybody in attendance here, we can deal with that right here. Ms. Noble, go ahead, please.
As noted, at the opening of the meeting, public participation must be done through Zoom. Members of the public joining virtually wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting may do so in one of two ways. If you've joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
And do you have anybody online who would like to, any comments, questions, or? Okay, well, we'll have to, I'm sorry, Matt Reed, I apologize. Okay, Matt Reed, there you are right there, okay? So you have, if you have Matt Reed and you are the agent, or?
Yeah, so my name's Matt Reed. I'm here from Sketch Design Build, and I'm here representing the owners, Ian and Jenny. We did the design concepts for this new addition, so we're just helping them process through this required variance. And I'm just here to answer any questions that anyone has about our application.
Thank you, sir, and welcome. Okay. Is there anybody, and do you have any other comments, sir, at all, or is that you're just here for, if the committee had any questions?
No, I think this one's like more of a technicality, I believe, just because, you know, we have this existing building in this area that's not permitted to have expansions, right? So it's a very small addition that we're doing, and the Conservation Authority is in support, and we've done the extra reports that they've needed to satisfy them. So yeah, I've got nothing else to add at this time.
Thank you. I think Planner Smith was gave us a great in-depth detailed report as well on that. Okay, so that being said, is there anybody else online or virtually that has any comments or questions? Seeing none, is there anybody in attendance today in the council here that would have a comment or question on it? Okay, seeing none, then I'm going to close the comment period for that one. And I'm going to go to 5.3, and that would be decision. So what decision, what direction would the committee like to take with this application? And we do have the recommendation in front of us from the planner on our roll up. So I'd be looking for a mover. Recommendation. Member Eccles, sir, go ahead, please.
I'll move the recommendation as presented.
Thank you, Member Eccles. And I can have a seconder on that. Member Noon, you'll be seconding that. And is everyone clear on the recommendation? Any comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor, you can raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has carried. So item 5.4, excuse me, is next steps. And I'm going to ask Planner Smith to explain the next steps. Go ahead, sir.
There will be an appeal period for the application. At the end of the appeal period, then the owners and Mr. Reed can finish applying for the building permit.
Thank you. So that closes that first application. We're on to item number 6 on the agenda, application number A03 2024 Galan Bentic Concession 1 NDR part lots 41 and 42. Again, 6.1 will report from planning staff. I get Planner Smith to please provide your information on your report and provide any written or verbal comments you may have received up till the start of this meeting. Planner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Application A03-2024 for Golan. An application to facilitate the construction of an accessory building or structure with a maximum floor area of 325.22 meters squared, thereabouts, which is larger than permitted by the bylaw. We'll go to the picture of the property, please. On the screen for the public's and councils and committees view is the Schedule A to the proposed decision. On the left-hand side is a front-end view of the structure itself showing height. There's also, a request for additional height or consideration on height. And on the right-hand side is the location and square footage or square meters of the proposed shed itself in terms of our decision. The application itself did propose leaving it as a 3-meter setback on the side yard. Our recommendation to the committee is to increase it by 1 meter, considering the size of the building and the ability on the lot to accommodate a slightly larger setback to the neighboring property. It's available, make it a little bit better use of that property, keep a very long side building profile a little bit further away from the neighboring properties, even though it's not close to the neighboring house or anything like that. But we like to see just a little bit more than the bylaw requires at times when we start getting into buildings of this particular size. Also, you'll notice on the decision sheet and on the drawing, there's a requirement for a minimum of 120-meter front yard setback and also a minimum of 140-meter rear yard setback that gives the building pushes the building back from the house on the south side and also begins to keep it away from some significant woodlands and a Nancy at the rear. So we're trying to nail it down a little bit more than the original application. There's still plenty of room within the setbacks they're proposing in order to build a building of this nature. The application was circulated to the agencies and to the public in terms of agency comments. There were no comments or issues from Public Works or from Conservation Authority. The County of Grey did suggest a sediment and erosion control plan. In this particular case, we're not suggesting that one be put in place. We have no creeks, we got no rivers, we've got no significant hillsides. This property in particular on this side is actually downhill from the neighbor. So anything that's from construction wise is flowing onto their own property. We're not close to the property lines on the north side, and we're not flowing anywhere close to the significant woodlands or the Anses at the back. So we could see no true technical reason to require a sediment and erosion control plan as opposed to the application we just talked about for Ballard, where we're closer to the river and we do have a slope downhill from a potential construction site. So in that regard, the County of Grey's suggestion, we do not recommend that we move forward. Not received any comments from the public since the writing of the report. Reviewed the application against the provincial policy statement. The 4 tests of a minor variance in this particular case, it's not a legal non-conforming, it's a brand new building. It is allowed within the zone. So the 4 tests of a minor variance are applied. The first test is to maintain, does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? In this particular case, it's the County of Grey official plan. We're within a secondary settlement area in Allen Park in this particular lot. It does allow for residences, accessory buildings and things like that. It does identify, again, significant woodlands in the Nancy. We're not close to the significant woodlands and we're not close to the Anse. The Anse in this particular case is an earth science Anse. And of course, you've all been through Allen Park, and the earth science Anse is one big honking pile of gravel is what the Anse is. So it's kind of tough to actually destroy or to, in that regard, in terms of applications in general. Application for a gravel pit may be a different story, but in these terms of these kind of things, not an issue. Significant woodlands, we're outside of the woodlands where they're proposing to build the building, and we've included setbacks in that regards too. Maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. We're zoned R1A unserviced residential. It does again allow for accessory uses and residential. That's not unusual to begin to see, of course, people wanting accessory buildings. They are allowed already by the bylaw. The size is the unique circumstance, it is a large building. And, but also when we take a look at the size of the lot, that's when we come back into consideration of the fourth test. In considering the size of the lot and the ability to meet some setbacks, we believe there's plenty of room, and we're nowhere close to lot coverage issues or anything at all like that. There'd be no impacts on neighboring properties, no impacts on the environment, no impacts on the ability of the municipality to do anything along the roadways itself. The R1A zone, when it was written with the size of the maximum size of accessory buildings, anticipates a far smaller lot than what we have available in this particular case on Allen Park Road and a lot of the other lots. So the building relationship to that lot size and its ability to move around allows us to take a look at the four tests and to determine that overall it would meet the requirements of the four tests. And therefore, we recommend approval of the application with consideration of the decision sheets and the additional setbacks as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. With 6.2 on the agenda is verbal comments. Again, there's two parts to this. 6.2.1 is committee members. Once that's completed, we'll go to 6.2.2, which would be the applicant, agent, or members of the public to speak to the application. So at this time, under 6.2.1, is there any committee members that would have any comments or questions on this specific application? And Member Eccles, the floor is yours, sir.
And just one question, and it's on the accessory building. It's for, in the designated area, to be zoned for storage. I'm taking it wouldn't be industrial or commercial use.
We allow home occupations and home industry in almost all our zones. So if we have a home occupation, if it met the requirements, home industry, then if it met the requirements, and you'd be able to do that within the square footage permitted in the bylaw. If the building is bigger than a permitted bylaw, then you'd only be able to use part of it. But it's not zoned for commercial industrial other than those uses defined as a home industry in the bylaw.
Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, I am going to move on to 6.2.2, and that's public comments. And again, Ms. Noble, if you can just explain to people virtually how they can participate, I would appreciate that, and then I can check with anybody in attendance. Go ahead, please.
If you have joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to myself, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Thank you, Ms. Noble. I'll give you a chance to sit down and see if there's anyone on virtual that would have their hand raised or any comments. Seeing none, is there anybody in attendance here today that would have a comment or question on this application? Okay, seeing none, then what I will do is move on to 6.3, and that's decision by the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this recommendation or this application? Sorry, and you will see that the recommendation is clearly posted here. So I'll be looking for a mover on that one. Member Townsend, go ahead, sir.
I would move the recommendation in the report.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder, please? Member Forster? Is everyone clear on the recommendation that's in the on the agenda here? Comments or questions on it? Okay, call the vote. All those in favor, just raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has also carried. And that takes us to item 6.4. Planner Smith, what are the next steps, please?
There will be an appeal period, and after the appeal period is ended, the applicant can come forward with a building permit that's in accordance with the decision in terms of the height and the location of the proposed building.
Thank you. All right. Item number 7 on today's agenda is application number B02 2024 Smilebron Farms, and I hope I've said that correctly. Lot 17 and Lot 18, Division 1, 2, and 3, EGR, Town of Glen Elg. Under 7.1, this would be the report from the planning staff, and I'm going to go to 7.1. I'm going to ask Planner Smith to please provide the comments on his, excuse me. I gotta get, there you go. Planner Smith, sorry, I had to flip my screen there. So I'm looking for your report, and if you've received any verbal or written comments up to today's meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Committee, B02 2024 Smilebrown Farms, an application to create a new agricultural lot. The subject lands, again, are front onto both Highway 6 and onto Concession 2. And I'll ask if you can go to the drawing on. Thank you. This is Schedule A to the potential decision. On the left side of the drawing is the severed parcel, approximately 56 hectares in size with frontage onto Highway 6. There is an existing house and farm buildings on that western part of the property. And then on the eastern chunk is the 123 hectares of retained, also with a house and agricultural buildings, but that's on the West Gray Concession Road. And as I mentioned, the other one's on Highway 6 on an MTO controlled highway. Just leave it there. No, we're good there. As I mentioned, the severed parcel will be 56 hectares, about 138, and retained 123 hectares, 304. They're both agricultural parcels, even though they have houses and agricultural barns on them. We have a number of designations: agriculture, rural, hazard in the Gray County official plan. We have some constraints, including aggregate resources, natural heritage system core, significant woodlands. We got part of the property in Saugeen Valley regulated area. And again, the MTO controlled highway. We did circulate the application to various agencies, including West Gray Public Works, Building, County of Gray. There've been no concerns. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority didn't have any issues with the severance, considering it's not, impending at all into the regulated area. We did circulate to MTO. The MTO in the last number of months has changed their process for engaging with municipalities and the public on applications. They now have an online portal where you submit information that goes into their machinery system, and sooner or later, sometimes later than sooner, it pops out an answer or a comment on applications. Sometimes we're a little quicker here than the provinces in terms of getting around to some things. When we wrote the reports, and we'll still have to check, we hadn't received any comments back from MTO, and we have to go in on a constant basis to see whether or not they posted anything. So what we've done is put a condition in the approval that says meet the MTO conditions if you have to. We don't anticipate any problems. It has an existing driveway. There's no changes there. It has existing frontage, all the rest of it. So we don't see any issues at all with MTO, but we did include the condition just in case the province comes up with something a little wacky. Maybe they want widening or something like that. We don't know. We have received no comments from the public from the report or since then. We reviewed the application of the requirements of the Planning Act, provincial policy statement, the County of Gray official plan, and also took a look, of course, at the West Gray zoning bylaw. We see no issues with any of the application in that regard. It meets all those special requirements of the zoning bylaw for provisions, front yards, setbacks, and all the rest of it. We took a look at all of that. That's why there's no special provisions required in terms of a zoning amendment, all the rest of it. It meets all the requirements for the A2 and for the A3 or for the A1 zones in that matter. In terms of the west of the County of Gray official plan, the lots are large. There's no issues at all with the buildings and structures and all the rest of it in terms of significant woodlands or aggregate or anything like that, considering the large size of the parcels. It meets all the requirements of the official plan in that regard. We do recommend approval of the consent application with the conditions as attached. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. 7.2 verbal comments. 7.2.1 committee members. That's once we completed that, we'll go to 7.2.2. Turn it over to the public. So committee members under 7.2.1, do you have any questions, comments at this time? We're down to Member Hutchinson, and once you're completed, I'll go to Member Eccles.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Why these two properties? Looks like to me there was two farms at one time. Is this a case where they became amalgamated over time because of similar, like the same ownership? I'm just curious that it seems unusual that these two parcels would have been in one parcel at one time. And now they're being separated. Or what's the case? Do you have some background on how
Well,
this is?
In general, your comment is correct. Farm parcels will merge. We do a couple of things on the planning side. Number one is there is no harm nor foul to apply a consent to a parcel that's separated, first of all, okay? There's no double jeopardy or whatever you want to call that. So we also leave it up to the applicant and their legal to say that this is, we're applying for this because we need it. It's not my job necessarily to go and say, oh, but these parcels aren't joined together. You're the lawyer. You tell me that they are. There are instances where an individual may apply for a consent, or we may say, it looks like it might be separate. Go see your lawyer. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a legal question that planners don't deal with. So why they joined? Your guess is probably correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Just wondered.
Anything further, Member Hutchinson? No, Member Eccles? Same question. Okay, any other comments or questions from the committee members on this application before we turn it to the public? Yeah, seeing none. 7.2.2, Ms. Noble. Again, it's the public comment period, so I'll get you to explain to anybody in attendance virtually how they can participate. Go ahead, please.
If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to myself, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Anybody?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, one moment, please. Did you have one person? Okay. Hi, please state your name. I've got you, I can't see you on screen here, but if you've called in, is it a call in or?
I'm on the video. I'm on Zoom.
Okay, there you go. Well, the floor is yours. I just need you to state your name, and if you could do that, and the floor is yours for your comment or question.
My name is Jeff Buesman. I'm with Van Herten Surveying. I'm representing the property owner. I was the one who submitted the application, and I appreciate the staff's review of it. It's been a great review and great working with the staff on this one. To answer the question that was risen earlier, the lawyer, the Smallborn Farms bought these two properties as separate properties in 2016, and then the second one in 2017. And by buying two separate farms in the same name, by the virtue of the Planning Act and how it's written, they merged. And that was a mistake to have merged them on title, so they want to unmerge them. That's in summary what's happened here. I'm happy to answer any other questions if there are any more.
Thank you for your follow-up. Just I seen Member Eccles, he's asked that question before, so I think you struck a note there with him. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much for attending. Do you have anybody else virtually that would like to make a comment or question? No? Anybody in the public or audience here that would like to state anything? Okay, seeing none, then that will close 7.2.2, excuse me, public comments. That takes us to 7.3, and that will be the direction or the decision from the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? Again, we have the recommendation right in our agenda here. Okay, Member Townsend, followed by Member Eccles. Member Townsend, go ahead, please.
I would move the recommendations as presented by the planner.
You're seconding that, Member Eccles? Second. Thank you, sir. Okay, comments or questions regarding the recommendation from the committee members? Member Eccles, go ahead, sir.
And just to comment back through Mr. Hutchison down at the far end. Yeah. I mean, you were there, we met with the ministry on in January to try and clear this administrative problem up, but until the ministry, province of Ontario wants to do something at the registry office with this to make it a little more economical and certainly clear up a stroke of the pen. This one's slightly different. Most of the ones we have come from pre-amalgamation time. This one happened 2016, 2017 is what we've heard. And what I heard from the ministry was that if the directions from the owners was not followed through, that it be registered on two different and remain separate. The recommendation from the minister at that point was find a good lawyer to challenge the lawyer actions that the applicant used in this. It was a way to get back at it as well too, but if it was errors or omissions, but it still doesn't go. The real heart of this is these things merge on title with a stroke of the pen. They should be unmerged on title to uncomplicate the actions of lawyers and the registry office with the new system. Yes, it is a bit of a, what do they call it? Pet peeve of mine at this point in time. We'll try and work to see whether it can be cleared up, but in this, timing wise, it's the only function that happens at this point in time, the only way to get at it right at the present moment. Thank you.
Thank you. That's why I referred to striking a note, because I think I was in that meeting with you too, sir. Okay, so I do have it moved by Member Townsend, seconded by Member Eccles. Is everyone clear on the recommendation? Have any other comments or questions on the recommendation? Is before us? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, if you can raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor. There's none opposed. That motion has also carried. Item number 7.4 be next steps, and Planner Smith, if you could tell us those, please.
There will be an appeal period for the consent, at which point in time the owner, the legal counsel, their team can begin to satisfy the conditions of the provisional consent. Once the conditions are satisfied, then the West Gray will apply a final stamp, quote unquote, to the application, and it can be registered.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Item number 8 on our agenda is next meeting. I didn't see it posted, but I'm not one to assume, but I believe it will be scheduled for May the 7th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Will be our first meeting in May. Item number 9 is adjournment. I will declare that all business on today's agenda is complete. And I would say we stand adjourned at 2:37 p.m. And thank you very much, everyone, for attending.